Check, 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 check. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. Let me ask you a question. What do Chris Rock, Jamie Foxx, and Odell Beckham all have in common? Do you want to know? Really? Do you truly want to know? All right, since you said you want to know, let's watch this clip, and I will be right back. Stay tuned. You really don't want to miss this show. So are you ready, AB? All right, let's get it. Hit it. Yeah, in the building.
He's fashion.
Jamie Foxx, Chris Rock, and Odell Beckham are three celebrities that we all enjoy. We can always count on them to entertain us in stellar fashion. Whether they are on stage like Chris Rock, and if you've ever been to a Chris Rock show, you know that he always brings the funny and a thought-provoking performance. Or in a recording studio, as we oftentimes find Jamie Foxx bringing us harmonious vocal tones over smooth R&B lyrics and chords, only when he is not on the big screen, entertaining us either by his comedic roles or those, or as an action hero or villain, or even on the football field, where Odell Beckham Jr. always gives us the best highlights from his spectacular catches, or even from the precise routes and patterns that he runs often to confuse his opponents. But what is it that these three men have in common? First take, there's the obvious in that they are all black men. And then secondly, the not so obvious, but that they are all high-value men who command millions when negotiating contracts. But what is it? Or what else is there and more. And now, back to our host, Daylon Thomas, and He Spoke Fashion. All right. Listen, thank you again for staying with us and continue to rock with us. And I appreciate you for taking the time out, again, of your busy schedule to have this discussion. So tonight, I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons high-value men say they are moving on from black women. Now, I know you're wondering why I would tackle such a major topic. And I would suggest to you that although all 5 reasons aren't dealing with fashion or style, at least one of them are in a roundabout way. So let's get to it. When we look at high value men, we must first do something that I think is probable or proper for this moment, and that is that we simply need to define exactly what a high value man looks like. So a high value man is the epitome of masculinity, leadership, charm, and sophistication, right? He is a man of means and influence. He's loved by women, revered by men, and moves gallantly through the challenges of life with courage and pride. So listen, right off top, right? Ladies and gents, I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to get those men that you know personally. I want you to get those men on your mind. And I want you to see how they measure up in terms of how we define a high value man. Now listen, if you're bold enough, I want you to add their names to the chat and send the link to them, asking them to join us. Now, let me ask you, really, do you know anyone that you would consider a high value man? That you would consider? If you don't, that's fine. So for your consideration and mine, I will use a few celebrities and professional athletes as examples, as I stated in the opening. So let's start our discussion tonight with none other than comedian extraordinaire Chris Rock, shall we? So Chris Rock, of course, many of us are familiar with Chris Rock, and were made more familiar of him due to the Oscars and, of course, the slap heard around the world. All right? Now, to me, this cowardly act from Will Smith, it just really didn't sit well with me. And I suppose it did not sit well with Chris Rock either, since he was the victim and he faced total humiliation while simply doing the job that pays him. Nevertheless, I'll digress. Since that horrendous event, you know, it's nice to see that Chris has moved on from that incident and moved on into, I would say, happier times. I wonder if the fact that he was assaulted by someone, listen to me close, because I know psychologically sometimes things of this nature happen. And I just wonder if the fact that he was assaulted by someone who looked just like him has anything to do with who he chose to start a relationship. One would think the impact of being attacked by someone who looks like you will cause you to have some kind of distrust of those who look like you. You know, and the gender would not matter. Now, could that attack have driven him into the arms of his current alleged girlfriend, Lake Bell? Could that be the case? Now listen, if Lake Bell looks familiar to you, then it may be because you, like myself, love some legal TV shows like Boston Legal, in which she starred. And I must admit, for one, you know, I'm sort of glad that he didn't choose one of the Kardashians today, right? I mean, we get so used to seeing them with every high value black man, and I, for one, am just glad that he did not choose one of these young ladies. But think again, and they may have more to offer than Miss Bell here in the attractiveness department. It's just my opinion, right? But as with all Hollywood couples, these things tend to stay under wraps until the publicist schedules enough public outings to give good publicity for both of them. So you see, I would liken Hollywood relationships, this is simply in my opinion, to living in the city called Oz from The Wizard of Oz. And I would liken that to that in the form that there is a whole lot of make-believe in this town. There's plenty of glitz and glamour. There's just enough to make you believe in the impossible. And by the impossible, I mean this budding relationship between Chris and Lake. You know, I guess Chris will be rocking the bell, but only time will tell. I'm sorry.
Bruh.
But it's interesting, the dynamic that we see here in this photo. I don't know if you guys catch this. Now let me ask you a question. How many of my beautiful butterflies out there see something wrong with this picture? Okay, now tell me what you see and tell me what is wrong with this picture. Would this offend you? Would it result in an argument at the end of the night? I just want to know what you think about this picture. You do know that until recently, every woman Chris dated since his divorce has been black, starting with one by the name of MEGALYN ECHIKUNWOKE. I don't know if that, you guys help me with that. ECHIKUNWOKE. AB, can you help me? We're going to call her MEGALYN E, all right? Okay! Because she MEGALYN. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But listen, that's what, if you're a Campbell out there, you know exactly what I mean by MEGALYN. But listen, a beautiful woman. But again, after the divorce, he dated her for quite some time. But I'm afraid to say things may have now changed, and I really want to know why, don't you? What about black women has provoked him to move on from them? Do you think she had anything to do with it? I mean, really? Do you think she had anything to do with it? Do you think the fact that she laughed when he was attacked by her husband provoked him? Could it be that he saw in her that moment, what he saw in her that moment was what he has seen in many of the black women he has known throughout his life? Now, I know that's unfair, but that leads me to the first of the top 5 reasons high-value men have moved on from black women, and that is simply this: microaggression. Microaggression. Now, microaggression is a term used for commonplace daily verbal, behavioral, or environmental slights. So someone who slights you in these different areas. And whether it's intentional or unintentional, they communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative attitudes towards stigmatized or culturally marginalized groups. I know you said that. How can you say about marginalized groups? But what group is more marginalized in this country than the black man, whether he is a high-value man or not? At the end of the day, if he is black, then more than likely he is marginalized. Now, let's move on from Chris Rock to one of my favorites, Jamie Foxx.
My man.
As many of you know, this multi-talented actor, singer, songwriter, Jamie Foxx, has, as far as I can remember, never been linked to a black woman in terms of a relationship. Now, you guys, listen, feel free to fact check me on this one. But as far back as his In Living Color days. I do not recall hearing of him being romantically linked with any black woman. Even on his signature show, The Jamie Foxx Show, you never even heard of him linking up with Garcelle Beauvais. Now listen, if he can resist a woman that fine, then that says something. And what does that say exactly? Well, let's examine this more closely. So there was a relationship with Tom Cruise's ex, Katie Holmes. And you guys remember this because Foxx was rumored to allegedly have been dating and possibly about to marry her, all coming to a halt last year. But he had been reportedly dating Katie for the past 10 to 20 years or so. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jamie's daughter's mother is also not a black woman. AB, can you look into that? Look that up for me. And let's give AB a minute here to confirm that, but we'll move on in our discussion. As it appears that Jamie is one high-value man who has always exercised his option. What's that, AB? Okay. Well, listen, put it on the screen. Go ahead and put it on the screen. Okay, so here she is. This is Jamie Foxx's ex. I think, what's her name? Connie Klein. Okay, let's move on. But I often wonder, I wonder what was the mitigating factor that would make a brother approach someone who is not black in hopes of finding love? Have you ever wondered that when you see other couples and relationships? Do you wonder what happened? Listen, before you turn me off or tune me out, I'm all for dating and marrying whom you like. So listen, I'm not against interracial relationships, none of my business. However, the conversation tonight is the top 5 reasons why some high-value men are moving on from black women. Which brings me to reason number 2. Reason number 2, which is behavior. Yes, behavior. Now, I'm not one to paint everyone with the same stroke. So let me give this disclaimer before we view this next clip. I, by no means, am implying that all my brown sisters behave in this manner. But we need to check the ones who do. Now, before we watch it, here's my other disclaimer. Brace yourself. Go ahead and roll it, AB. We'll be right back. This is one of the reasons they have moved on. 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. So we're back. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. I see Stephen. Good now. Great. So listen. Unwillingness to change is where we are. Unwillingness to change. And I know this is a tough question for a lot of people, because you are saying, why do I have to change? Why do I have to change? And my question to you again is, why should you not? Everything and everyone changes. And if they don't change, then they must be dead. Let's be clear. And you understand this, that when you first enter into a relationship, you don't know all there is to know about that person. No matter how long you've known them, there are some things that show up later on down the road. And in those times, you must be able to adjust or change in order to handle them. There are some of you, now this is going to sound harsh, but there are many of you that are simply stuck in your ways. You're simply stuck in your ways, and that is unfortunate. All right, you're stuck in your ways, and you know what? You're so stuck that even the Lord God himself can't convince you to change. And that is the reason why some high-value men have moved on instead of wasting the time investing in someone who will not make the necessary adjustments to keep a relationship healthy. that brings me to the woman who Jamie Foxx is currently being linked to. That is none other than Selah Vave or Selah Vave. I'll say it one way or the other. You guys help me out on that. So Selah Vave. Now, this lovely young woman is also in the music business. And you know what? I could see how similar passions would draw them together in spite of the obvious age difference. Now, I hear you. I hear some of you saying she probably just looking for a sugar daddy. And you know what? You may be right. You may be right. But what does that matter if both of them are enjoying each other's company? I'm sure if that's what she's looking for, I'm sure Jamie is well aware of that, all right? And some of you are simply, I believe, projecting what you would do in this situation, and you're projecting that unfairly onto this young lady. Now, just because you would only date an older man for money, yeah, you date the young one for that too. But anyway, it doesn't mean that every other woman is like you. As a matter of fact, many of you are missing out on high-value men for that reason alone. Listen, I've spoken to them for that reason alone. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that there are many young men out here that are making enough money to be considered a high-value man? Now, I know that's relative, because enough money to you may not be enough money, period. Oh, I see some comments, and men will change for the woman he wants. Listen to that comment. That's a very good comment. Steve, thank you for that. Men will change. Now, let me ask some of my beautiful butterflies here in the chat. What about you? Will you change for the man that you want? Will you change? Or again, are some of you in the vein to say, why should you change? He chose me just the way that I am. I know you're saying that. I know you're saying that. He did choose you. But as you both evolve, you're going to change. He's going to change. You're going to change whether you like it or not. You're going to change physically. But would you change the things other than the physical things that are going to change anyway? Would you be willing to change? See, it is that unwillingness to change that are turning black high-value men and moving them away from black women. Now listen, I hear you. I heard you loud and clear. You are saying, well, the professional athletes, the rappers, and other celebrities, right? I got you. That's what you're saying. You're saying that there are those that are out there. There are others out there other than the entertainer, the TV or older gentleman. So you're looking, I got you. I'm coming down your street. You're looking for someone a little bit younger that has the wealth to be considered a high value man. I got you. So let's see how you all are doing with them, shall we? Let's take a look at the last high value man on our list. That happens to be the youngest of the three, as well as the one who comes from the professional athlete side. All right, none other than this guy right here, OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. All right, so as we all know, OBJ is one of the most fascinating wide receivers in football today. While there were a few setbacks, I believe, early on in his career, I hope and I think that with this year's Super Bowl win and his newborn baby, he may be on the right track. I hope so. I hope so for his sake. And yes, to those of you that did not know that OBJ and his companion birthed a baby this year, And I want to say, or maybe it's been last year, but I want to say congratulations to them both. If you know OBJ, go ahead and send this to him. Put him down in the chat. But listen, would you like to guess the race of his baby mother? Would you like to guess? Would you like to guess? All right. Yep. You got it. You are correct. That's right. She isn't a black woman. She is none other than Lauren Woods. And if that name rings familiar to you, put it in the chat if you ever heard of Lauren Woods. As you can tell, they are a very photogenic couple, very good looking couple. And I'm sure that one of the things that led Odell to approach her was the fact that she is easy on the eyes. Listen, my fly guys, go ahead and give me some thumbs up if one of the criteria that always drives you and motivates you to approach a woman is because she's easy on the eyes. That's why I often tell women, listen, do the best that you can with what God gave you, and then add those necessary accessories. I remember one of my guests, Justin Wakefield, said before that fashion gives you the tools that's necessary to enhance your God-given beauty. Did you hear that? That's what fashion does. It gives you the tools. Those brands, those luxury brands, they give you the tools by which to enhance your God-given beauty. And guess what? When you're easy on the eyes, then that means, and it makes it easy for those to approach you. But what I want to know in this case is what made him pass by the rest to get to her. Now listen, if it were only based on looks, then hands down, you guys in the chat, my beautiful black butterflies, would have been first on the list. But that is never, unfortunately, the sole reason why one considers a relationship with someone. Wouldn't you agree? Let me ask you all a question. How many of you would say you're looking for someone that you could build with? How many of you would say that? I want to hear from you. And I hear that quite often from my single female friends, that someone that I can build with. Now, if that is you, I want you to please put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to go back and look at these comments. I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you are looking for someone that you could build with. All right? Okay, my next question is, who would be the foreman? Right? You're going to build. You need someone who's going to tell you how you're going to build, what's going to be priority, what's going to be less of a priority, how much is the budget, who's going to be the foreman. You see, most high-value men are not looking for someone who they can build with, because oftentimes they are already established in the area that makes them a high-value man. Did you get that? See, they're already established. So when you're talking about to build with, then high-value men oftentimes are already established. That's what the criteria is for being a high-value man. But what they are looking for is someone who is, and this is reason number 4, someone who is supportive. Now, when we look at Lauren Woods, we find that she has a career of her own. From her start with Nick Cannon's show Wild and Out, to all of her other business adventures in sports, fitness, and modeling. But again, the support system that these women foster is what attracts the high-value man. Did you get that? Supportive, that support system. Now, this is a question I need to ask you. How many of you, my beautiful black sisters, would be willing for your career goals, your dreams, to take a back seat while you support his vision, his dreams and his goals. All right? See, again, the high value man is not really looking for someone to build with, but someone that will be a support system for him. Now, this leads me to the final reason that I found that high value men say they have moved on from black women. And it's simply this. And listen, I hope that you don't take offense to this. Remember, I am only the messenger delivering the message. And that is reason number 5, because you're just too uncooperative. So sisters, you just don't cooperate. Let me compel you to take a look at what is being said about you, that you are uncooperative. Most high value men, and I would say regular average black men, just want someone who is going to be cooperative. Someone who's going to cooperate with him in terms of the vision that he has for the family. So I want you to take a look and listen. Sometimes I know it's hard to listen to what is being said about you. Take an opportunity to listen and to look at what is being said about you. And then I want you to do this. I want you to do the best you can to repair your reputation. I know you're saying, listen, I love black women. So it's not me saying this. For those who want a high value man, I'm not a high value man. Listen, I don't meet the criteria just yet. I'm working on it, but it's not about me. It's about you and your desire to be with a high value man. Again, I'm not speaking to all of you, but I am speaking to all of you. Yes. You heard that right. I am speaking to those of you that are conducting yourselves in this manner that are causing high value men to move away from black women. And I'm talking to those who are not. The reason I am speaking to the both of you is that those who are not can be the example for those who are behaving this way. You know, I hope that, and I know that most of you that are watching are spiritual, right? You are Christians, or you believe in whatever you believe in. You have faith. But I want to tell you about what I believe in, and that is the Bible. And the Bible says that the older women should teach the younger women. And I will say that that really has nothing to do with the age of the woman, but the experience of the woman. So if you have matured or have experience in things of this nature, then why won't you look for that person, that young woman, or that person, that woman who you could share the wisdom that you have gained having had that experience? Okay, I'm gonna step down off my soapbox because you know what? It brings me to the end of this discussion. And listen, I really have enjoyed you all on tonight. And I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation. I know that many of you are probably saying, why does this matter to you if you're not even interested in dating a high value man? And that's a very good question. And the answer is, well, I think I can show you better than I can tell you. AB, are you ready? Can you roll that final clip before we get out of here? I want you to roll this final clip, and I want you guys to watch this. We'll be back after this clip, all right?
Black women now, because of past experiences, they like to place that strong personality on you, and sometimes you just kind of, just like, you know, stay in a woman's place.
What is your experience?
A lot of black women, they don't want to talk to me. Some of them don't want to talk to me. Some of them don't want to talk to me because, number one, I'm a God-fearing man. I don't believe, like right now, I'm practicing abstinence. I'm not having any sex whatsoever.
Why you ain't in the church?
I am in the church. I'm gonna tell you about the church women. If you don't have a collar, they don't want to talk to you. I'm straight up.
But
if you don't have a collar, they don't
do you
want to
know
talk
what
to
the
you.
collar represents, though?
I guess it's purity or, leadership or, I don't know, a divine.
How about power?
Yeah.
How about power? That's what it represents. But let me tell you why I've called you here today. I've invited you here because my intention is to dismantle the myth of the angry black woman. I believe it's a myth.
Huh.
As a black woman, I believe it's a myth. I invited you here for a mixer tonight, just to be with some women, all kinds of women, all ages. We all have a story, we all have an experience, and we all get to choose. Tonight you get to choose how you're gonna experience these.
I don't date black women now because of past experiences. They like to place that strong personality on you, and sometimes you just kind of, stand a woman's place.
All right. Now that you've seen the clip, I want you to know that this show was shot in 2016. And even in 2016, there were average black men that were moving on from dating black women, right? So it's not just high value men, but the average black man that was represented on that show have said that they were moving on from dating black women. Now listen, I am in no way endorsing this behavior, but I think that this show serves as a real-time, I would say, warning for those of you who are interested in dating black men. The pickings are getting even slimmer. And you may have to, and I know you don't like to hear this word, but you may have to compete for the affections of a black man, whether he is high value or not. Listen, my aim was simple tonight, and that was to offer these 5 reasons in hopes that it will bring about dialogue that will be constructive to all those who are interested in, as the late Kevin Samuels would say, not dying alone. And while you have the time and you want to do something about that. Listen, that's all I have for you tonight. I want you to have a good night, good fashion. And remember, he spoke fashion to you. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And remember, fashion changes, and so can you. Yeah!
I'm telling he spoke I'm so glad he spoke fashion. I'm telling